I've said this before and I'll say it again. I do not think Kevin Stefanski wants Shedeur Sanders to succeed in Cleveland. The reason being is, don't tell me what he said, don't tell me what he's saying. I'm going off of actions. All right, let's go off actions. The actions is, if I'm Shedeur or if I'm a Shedeur Sanders fan, I would not want him to take the field, because that's going to consistently be the display we're going to see. It doesn't matter if it's Deshaun Watson. It doesn't matter if it's Shedeur Sanders. It doesn't matter if it's Dillon Gabriel. It doesn't matter if it's Dan Orlovsky. It doesn't matter if it's Cam Newton. You need help in Cleveland when you have a quarterback that's still making $46 million on your roster and he's not healthy. That impacts the talent that's around him. They are not a good team. Right. But this is the thing that really irks me the most.
There are moments in an NFL season where the story is not written on the scoreboard or in the box score. The real story hides in the small details, the small fractures in a locker room, the tiny decisions from a coaching staff that change everything. And in this case, the moment that exposed the Cleveland Browns came down to something so basic, so fundamental, that it shocked fans, media, and even former players watching the broadcast. It was the sound of a cadence.
Entered the game in the third quarter after Dillon Gabriel suffered a concussion, and his debut did not go as planned. Shedeur was sacked twice, completed just 4 of 16 passes, and threw an interception as the Ravens scored 13 unanswered points in the fourth quarter to secure the 23-16 victory. After the game, Kevin Stefanski confirmed that Shedeur has not had any reps with the first team before taking the field on Sunday. And so, now who are we blaming? Is it Shedeur Sanders not looking prepared, or perhaps maybe the Browns not having him well enough prepared?
I'm definitely blaming Kevin Stefanski and his offensive coordinator. What the hell is going on? You know what? Listen, you're the QB too. Shouldn't you have reps? Correct me if I'm wrong. Listen, we watched a lot of quarterback play over the years. We've seen people inept. We understand limited skill level and stuff like that.
Because when Shedeur Sanders stepped onto the field for his first real NFL action, the offensive linemen, the men who were supposed to protect him, fight for him, and move in sync with him, were hearing his voice, his cadence, his snap rhythm for the first time. Not in camp, not in practice, not in walkthroughs, in a live game, with a real defense trying to take his head off. That line, right there, lit the entire debate on fire. It became the center of Stephen A. Smith's argument. It became the symbol of everything that is wrong with Shedeur's situation in Cleveland. And it became the spark for a hard question that nobody in the Browns organization seems willing to answer. How do you expect a rookie quarterback to succeed when you refuse to prepare him? This is the moment that tells you the truth behind the chaos. And this is where our story starts. Like and subscribe. And if you love Shedeur, then comment SS 100%.
Stuff like that. What's rare to see is a quarterback that looked grossly ill-prepared to be on the football field. I'm talking about schematically. Really, you complete the first couple of passes, and then after that, you can't find anybody. It made no sense to me. I found it to be very, very suspicious. That's not to big up Shedeur Sanders by any way. All right, he's got a lot to prove, but also what alarmed me is that you're Kevin Stefanski, and you know that Dillon Gabriel is in concussion protocol, and you automatically declare him as the starter next week.
The Browns insisted all offseason that this was going to be a fair quarterback battle. They said Shedeur would get opportunities. They said he would learn behind Dillon Gabriel. They claimed they were setting up competition. But when the lights came on, the reality looked completely different. Dillon Gabriel takes a hit, suffers a concussion. Suddenly, the job is open. Suddenly, your rookie pick needs to be ready. Suddenly, your coaching staff is supposed to show whether they built your quarterback to handle a real NFL moment. But when Shedeur entered the game, it took exactly one drive for the analysts in the booth and the personalities in the studio to realize something ugly. Shedeur wasn't unprepared because he wasn't good. He wasn't unprepared because the game was too fast. He was unprepared because he was never given the tools to be ready. This is where Stephen A's voice cuts through the noise. His tone changes. His eyebrows lock. He leans into the camera because he sees something deeper than a rookie struggling. He sees a coaching decision.
Why would you do that? You know, he said he'd be there next week. He's our guy. That's what he said after the game. Why? You don't know if he's going to be available. You don't know. So why would you say that? It just seemed very eerily suspicious to me. I didn't like what I saw.
Yeah, let me talk about some of the reps that I've seen just constantly get talked about really since this is going on, and Cam can speak to it as well. I was a backup for 99% of my career. I would go weeks upon months without getting reps with the starters. I would just take
QB2?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, maybe a little bit more as I got older and I was into 10, 12 years, even less reps. When I was younger, and this is a little bit unique situation because Dillon is the starter. He's also a rookie, so I'm sure the Browns are trying to get him as much reps as possible. Do I find it odd that Shedeur hasn't had a single snap with the starters?
He sees a pattern. He sees a coach in Kevin Stefanski who already made up his mind and treated Shedeur like he wasn't part of the plan. At first, the studio tries to keep it balanced. They talk about the speed of the game, the challenges rookies face, the chaos of unexpected action. But then the detail drops. The offensive lineman heard his cadence for the first time. Not weeks ago, not days ago, that day, at that moment. This isn't miscommunication. This isn't bad luck. This isn't an accident. This is poor preparation. This is neglect. This is Stefanski saying one thing in public and doing something entirely different in practice. Stephen A. hits that nerve with force. He says it straight. He accuses Stefanski of not wanting Shedeur to succeed. That's a strong statement on national television. It's not gossip. It's not speculation. It is an accusation with teeth. And he backs it with evidence. Lack of reps, lack of preparation, lack of attention.
Yes. I think Wyatt Teller had said coming out of halftime, it was the first time that the starting offensive line had heard Shedeur's cadence. I think that's odd, yes. But the fact that he hasn't, this reps thing has become this massive conversation. It's more common than not for the backup to not get any reps with the starting group than it is for them to get 4 or 5 reps at practice. And so I don't think that's like this outrageous thing. Shedeur's going to have to play better. He saw things he's never seen before. He felt speed he's never felt before. Credit Baltimore's defense. But I don't think the reps thing is a lot of what the conversation has been made out.
Imagine being Shedeur Sanders. You are drafted into a franchise that claims they believe in you. They tell the world you're part of the future. They tell the media you'll compete. Then camp starts, and they barely give you starter reps. Practice begins, and your linemen never even hear your cadence. Walkthroughs come and go, but you don't get a real run with the offense you are supposed to lead one day. Then suddenly, the moment hits. The starter goes down. Cameras swing. Fans turn to you. Teammates look at you. Reporters prepare their tweets. And you walk onto the field with a playbook you weren't allowed to master, a rhythm your teammates don't know, and the weight of a city on your shoulders. This isn't fair competition. This is sabotage through neglect. When a rookie quarterback steps on the field, you expect nerves. You expect growing pains. But Shedeur's struggles looked different. They looked like a player trying to run an offense he hasn't been allowed to run. The numbers tell the story. 4 completions out of 16 attempts, an interception, 2 sacks, 0 points. But the tape tells a deeper story. Routes breaking off early, linemen jumping because they don't know the cadence, timing off by entire seconds, play calling that didn't match his style, no bootlegs, no movement, no rhythm throws. It looked like somebody copied Dillon Gabriel's page from the playbook and handed it to Shedeur 5 minutes before kickoff. This is why Stephen A. said what he said. Not because he hates Stefanski, not because he wants controversy, but because this situation doesn't make sense unless you believe the coaching staff never planned on giving Shedeur a real shot. What makes this moment even more suspicious is what came after. Before Gabriel even cleared concussion protocol, the Browns declared him the starter for next week. Coaches never do that. It breaks basic logic. If a quarterback is hurt, you wait for his status. You wait for the doctors. You wait for the review. But Cleveland didn't wait. They didn't hesitate. They didn't care about Shedeur's opportunity. They immediately announced Gabriel is the guy. This sent the message loud and clear. No matter what Shedeur does, no matter how this week goes, no matter how much he improves, we are sticking with Gabriel. And once again, it showed that Shedeur was never part of their real plan. Cam Newton joins the segment. He doesn't fully agree with Stephen A. about ulterior motives. He defends Stefanski to a point. He says Stefanski is a good coach. But even Cam admits the situation is handled poorly. He admits Shedeur needs reps. He admits the Browns failed to prepare him. And when a former NFL MVP says your rookie was not set up to win, that carries weight. Cam knows what it feels like to be the face of a franchise. He knows what it means to need the support of your coaching staff, and he sees that Shedeur is not getting that support. This is about trust. Trust between a quarterback and a coach. Trust between a locker room and their leader. Trust between a franchise and its future. When your linemen don't know your cadence, it means you don't get reps. If you don't get reps, it means the team never believed you would play. If they never believed you would play, it means the competition was fake. And if the competition was fake, everything they told the public, everything they told Shedeur, everything they told the fans was a lie. And Shedeur is stuck in the middle of this storm. One thing people forget about the NFL is that these are not robots. These are young men living the biggest moment of their professional lives. Shedeur came into the league with pressure, with cameras, with expectations. He carries his father's shadow. He carries his own name. And when he finally gets the moment to prove himself, he walks into a field where his own team didn't give him the tools to survive. Imagine how that feels. Imagine walking into a job interview where they hide the instructions from you, then blame you when you can't perform. Imagine a coach calling plays you never practiced. Imagine offensive linemen turning to look at you confused because they're hearing your snap count for the first time. Fans are arguing. Analysts are split. Some say give him time. Others say the Browns ruined the moment before it even started. But everyone agrees on one thing. Something is wrong in Cleveland. You cannot call it development when the basics are missing. You cannot claim you're building a rookie quarterback while refusing to practice with him. You cannot claim competition when the job is given before medical clearance even arrives. This is why the clip hits so hard. This is why the title fits. This is why the moment has gone viral. Because it's not about the throw he missed. It's not about the interception. The NFL is harsh. It's unforgiving. It exposes weakness and magnifies dysfunction. But the greatest test for any young quarterback is not the opposing defense. It's their own team. And right now, Shedeur Sanders is fighting two battles, one against NFL defenses and one against the very system supposed to support him. This clip is the turning point. This is the moment the world realized the Browns might be setting up Shedeur to fail. Not openly, not loudly, but silently through lack of preparation, lack of reps, and lack of belief. And if something doesn't change soon, the story of Shedeur Sanders' rookie season won't be written by him. It will be written by the coach who never gave him a chance.